Welcome to the BuzzBait podcast, your way of something new each week. I am your host, Laura. With me today are my co-hosts, Colin and Megan. Colin and Megan, are we feeling spooky today?
It's about that time. I just put up our Halloween decorations yesterday, in fact.
Ooh.
I wish I was a decorator. I'm not.
I'm also not. Back when I lived on my own, I didn't really decorate all that much.
I don't decorate for a lot. Like, I'll do the Christmas tree. I love decorating for Halloween. It's like one of the few things I'm looking forward to when I get my own house instead of an apartment. Make that bitch spooky.
Alright, this week we are going to be talking about conspiracy theories, cryptids, the whole 9 yards. We also brought our own conspiracy theories, some that we think are real.
By the end of the episode, we'll make our own.
Who would like to start?
Ooh, I do. Okay, so I've got a couple of them. I'm gonna launch into the cryptids first, and I'm gonna tell you, I genuinely believe that Bigfoot could be real, and I also believe that the Kraken from history is real.
I like how you say from history instead of mythology. Like, Meg is a believer, guys. That Kraken is out there.
Oh, no, because there are first-person accounts, so it's history at that point. It's not just like, oh, let me write a story. No, it's a guy writing in like writing and saying, hey, I saw this on the ocean. That's not just like mythology. He's not like telling a thing. But back in 1100, a ship is like 70 feet long, right? Viking ship, 75
like
feet,
that.
right? Giant squid, 60 feet long. What, you see that thing and you're like, that's a fucking Kraken. It's the size of my ship. Of course it's real. The Kraken in history is just a giant squid. It still exists. We don't see it very much because they live over 1,000 feet under the ocean.
Where they belong. I've seen pictures of those motherfuckers.
They're terrifying.
I can get behind that just because, I was just going to say, because we don't know a ton about our oceans.
We know more about space than our own oceans.
Yeah, so I could get down with the Kraken being
real.
But
this does make me think of how people were like, the Loch Ness Monster is real. And then somebody started pointing out that whales will stick their penises out of the water. And people were like, in the pictures, like they did side by side. It's like, I got this picture of the Loch Ness Monster. And it's like, is there just a whale sticking his ding dong out in the Loch Ness area?
It very well could be. Or the guy who took that picture originally said it was faked. He came out and said that was faked. Now, is he lying because someone's like, we can't tell them that we have the Loch Ness Monster and it's real? But I will say that the Loch Ness Monster being real has actually made the Loch Ness one of the most well-funded areas of ocean exploration or sea exploration. Which is insane.
Because 10 out of 10, make a cryptid about something you want scientific support for. And then just trick the internet into backing you up, and then you'll get all the funding you need to go.
I'm gonna go make a weird shape in the water, and you guys take a picture with me.
All right, I got you.
Excellent.
All right, Meg, continue. Sorry.
No, this is exactly what this whole episode's gonna be about. Is about the crazy things and all that. So I'm very, very excited. So, again, the first ever report was from a Viking in 1100 CE, right? I'm looking at a thing right here. It says 75 feet was the remarkable, vessels that they could create, right? Well, on average, other ships and stuff were between 50 and 80 feet. So all of the things from that time where you're talking about something that, again, is like 60 feet long, where it's almost the entirety of what at the time would be like a very massive structure for civilization to have made.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about something that like in your brain is like hard to process. And if, because they're so territorial, they very well could have been close to the surface for some reason. Maybe they were hunting or attacking something. I mean, a whale will quickly ascend towards the surface, I believe, it's if it's being attacked by a squid, because it needs air and the squid's probably trying to drag it down. So let's say a whale brought a squid towards the surface, right? And
Mhm.
so then it's near the surface, the whale gets away. Oh, look at that. Isn't that look like a whale to a squid? And it's a ship. And so it latches on, same way a lot of people get attacked while like on surfboards by sharks and stuff. The squid's not used to seeing anything in the light when it's used to being 1,100 feet below the ocean surface. So it just sees this dark shape the size of a whale. And it's like, yeah, that must be lunch. And it latches on because they attack whales. Whales have been seen with scars from, because they have keratin, like what we have, like that makes our fingernails. They have
Mhm.
like around like their suction cups, so they're like razor blades. So you can see on some whales where they've been attacked by giant squids and have gotten away. So it's like, I'm like, you get just a really hungry giant squid who's like, you know what, I gotta go up towards the thing to find me a whale, and then it finds a ship instead, and suddenly you're getting kraken sinking ships. And I'm like, that's fucking cool, though. That's fucking cool,
That is fucking cool. Actually, that's kind of metal as hell.
right? So that's my kraken belief, and then of course I think that that like Bigfoot and like the abominable snowman and stuff is just Gigantolopithecus, which is just the giant ape, because I believe they didn't go extinct that long ago. And so I think that maybe not like a current thing, but like a lot of like the lore and stories at least, cuz they were around when humans were around, right? So humans are about 300,000 years old. Like humans as we are now. So homo, you know,
What'd you call
homo
me?
yeah, Colin. Yeah, yeah, I
I was
called you
as
a
soon as you started talking about humans, I was like, Meg's gonna say the H word.
the H word, Homo sapiens. Yeah, yeah, I did. I said Homo sapiens. You're a Homo sapien, Colin.
I refuse to
Actually, I'm
believe
straight.
that. Yeah.
Whew. Anyways, you're a straight sapien. That's all that's in my brain right now. I can't even read.
Strapian.
Love it.
Okay. So yeah. So like humans are 300,000 years old. When did the Gigantopithecus? I don't.
You can do it.
I believe in you, Meg.
Spell it out.
Deep breath. Sound it out in your head.
I don't know if it's gig or gigant. Okay. Because gigantic, right?
Mhm.
Gigantopithecus.
All right,
There you go. You just did it.
there you go.
Perfect.
You got it. Let me type this into a website that will certainly not pronounce it incorrectly.
But yeah. So for let's say it said that it lived.
Yeah, it's Gigantopithecus.
Yeah, Gigantopithecus. So if it lived until 200,000 years ago, that's 100,000 years of human lore hanging out next to a giant ape. Okay, and they lived in southern China. We know that humans have been in that area and have even had civilization. Oh, and this is another thing. I hate how
Meg is mad.
I didn't think
I
she'd get so
did.
animated in this
I
episode.
suddenly just got like a spike in my blood pressure because I hate that anything that talks about the history of civilizations
Uh huh.
being later. So like when they're like actually humans were more civilized. The pyramids are older than 6,000 years. That the Sphinx is older than 6,000 years, things like that. When they say that that's older, then all of a sudden you're clumped into this like conspiracy theory, pseudoscience, aliens are fucking building the pyramids brain set. And I'm like, no, maybe humans just were better at things and then shit happened on the planet that caused things to like get fucked up. Like there's like, okay, there are flood stories. There are flood stories, not just in like the Bible regions, like where they're talking about a biblical flood that like reset the earth, like in written in the Bible. But there are these flood stories all over the world from different civilizations where they're all like, yeah, no, there were these giant floods and monsoons and crazy weather, and other places were like fire rained down from the sky and it was God's wrath. And it's like, or maybe a bunch of meteors, which leads me directly into my next theory, which is the Younger Dryas impact theory. Okay? Now, the Younger Dryas era, just so you guys know, to inform you, that was a real thing. The Younger Dryas part, absolutely real. It describes a time in Earth's history about, I want to say, like 13 to 10,000 years ago, where suddenly the Earth had been heating up. It had been getting warmer and warmer and warmer. The Earth's oceans, at least, were getting warmer at a very like steady rate, and then suddenly there was like a huge amount of cold water introduced, and there were two incidents that happened in two different parts of ice sheets, because North America was still covered in giant ice sheets at the time, over 10,000 years ago. So two different things, one in Iceland and one in North America, were disturbed, and they had huge events around these ice sheets. Now, to explain that, people said, what if there was a meteor shower? That also aligns with the rough estimation. The Bible's like 6,000 years, but like, people were dumb. How do we know it's 6,000 years? It could have been 11,000 years or 12,000 years. I don't know. Maybe their timeline's just a little bit off of what they considered a year to be. I don't know. Because this is, again, relatively rudimentary civilization trying to mark these things according to like the histories. They say something happened 6,000 years ago, but that story was only from 2,000 years ago. So they say, 6,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago. How do you know that? You weren't around for 4,000 years yourself in writing this story. So maybe it was really 8,000 years from that point. You know what I mean? So there's just like, it's hard to go off of exactly what the Bible says, but so much of human history is shaped around the Bible. Still, there are assumptions based on like religion that things have to conform to a specific time period because of what was written in the Bible, right? And I don't like that. I think that, like, hey, maybe the Bible's just a little bit wrong. Like, it doesn't negate your religion just because some of the years are off. You know what I mean? Just because things were longer. So I don't really like agree with that, and it's not an attack on your religion, for anyone who believes in that, because I think that science and religion can coexist, personally. Now, that being said, during the Younger Dryas period, they're trying to explain why there was this shift in temperature and shift in things happening. And again, I like to think that there was large comet impacts, and it actually aligns with historical tellings, not just what's said in the Bible, but other civilizations that are not religious, saying that there were great floods and things, which morphs into Atlantis being real. Not like some like technology where like there's mermaids living under the ocean, but there could have been a more advanced, like a well put together civilization 10 or 11,000 years ago. And then they were said to have been surrounded by like muddy shoals. Like the rings of Atlantis were because there was a lot of water and stuff around them, apparently. And so it could have been destroyed and buried if there were a bunch of like, like catastrophic events. If there was a lot of like geological activity where you were getting earthquakes and things that were sending tsunamis. I mean, even today, tsunamis are taking out advanced areas and destroying them, and we just rebuild them. But what if it was so catastrophic at the time that you couldn't rebuild it because it was too much? You know what I mean? And then there are places that did exist that they decided not to rebuild, like Pompeii, and then we forgot about it for ages and ages, where there was like almost no mention of it. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, what about this one mention that we found about it? and who knows, maybe like that's a thing. So I'm just saying, like, I truly, I don't have enough to say that I believe in the Younger Dryas, but I would like to believe in the Younger Dryas because it would align with a change in how we view human history, which is being opened up a little bit more. There are still more scientific things. Like they thought that like the Fertile Crescent and Mesopotamia was like the oldest civilizations, but new carbon dating of the Indus River valleys has actually brought their timeline back almost 2,500 years. They're finding written word that nobody can decipher at all, and actually, there's a $50,000 reward if you can decipher their language. By the way,
All
Yo,
right, guys, let's get to work.
yeah, let's fucking. That's how we're
Let's
gonna
get to
start
work.
the channel.
fun fact: there's a $50,000 reward if you can translate this language somehow or find a way to translate it.
Send me the link. I'll get to
It's
work.
it's the
Yeah, let's
Indus
get to work, guys.
Indus Valley civilization. Just I bet you can throw up a little Google search and figure it out because they cannot, because the language has changed so much. But yeah, they're carbon dating it now at 8,000 years old, which is 2,500 years older than what they thought, and that puts it older than Mesopotamia, which means that. But then again, there's Göbekli Tepe, right? Göbekli Tepe, which is a site that they found that is, I want to say, 12,000 years old. They know that they buried it. The earth that they put around it is 12,000 years old. They're saying that hunter gatherers built it, but what hunter gatherers have time to do intricate stone monolith carvings? I don't
Stone
know.
monolith.
Yeah, they were
I'm about to
carving
get to work
stoves.
inside my stove.
Those hunter gatherers were carving stoves. No, I'm just saying, like, the timeline doesn't make sense. So this is one that I believe in the change in timeline. Atlantis, the Younger Dryas impact theory being why we don't have historic records and stuff. That's all like stuff that would be like a cool explanation for it. But I do believe that human history is older than we think. I don't think we were like sending stuff into space or there were freaking aliens or anything, but I do like to think that human history, because humans have been around for 300,000 years, as we are now, I do like the idea that we have actually done more and things have happened that have stunted us.
Yeah, they're being stunted reminded me that there something I didn't mention when I was just scrolling through everything earlier. There is a conspiracy theory that the burning of the Library of Alexandria was done intentionally to inhibit human growth.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah.
Because we lost so much history and knowledge in that library that like we just had no frame of reference and we had to essentially blunder through mistakes that were already written, documented, and resolved.
Yeah, I want to say that they estimate that that they had set humanity back. The burning of Alexandria set humanity back like there's like the 1,000 years. I want to
Yeah.
say, yeah, 1,000 years. The
Then
burning of the
there's a
Great Library of
similar
Alexandria.
theory for the Black Plague setting us back a few hundred years because we just fucking it wiped out the population of Europe. And again, it left the church in charge of our knowledge.
What about the? Did you see the conspiracy that there's a guy and he was like, I don't like what year it's being reported, and they were like, what do you mean, sir? And he was like, yeah, what if instead of saying it's like 300, what if we say it's like 500? And then they were like, sir, and he was like, just do it, trust me. And then they
just a thought.
did. Yeah.
Counterpoint, change that date. That just reminded me of the meme I saw the other day where it was just like scientists, new discovery leads to proven fact. Some guy on Twitter, in my opinion, I disagree.
The conspiracy theories I brought are, I feel like, a little less in depth. But I guess I'll start. I'll share mine. Conspiracy theory number 1: women's pockets are purposely smaller or just not there to sell purses.
I genuinely
That
believe in
yeah,
that one. I
that's
do. I
real.
believe in that. I believe in
Y'all
that
got scammed
wholeheartedly.
because you got female body
Yeah.
parts. You ripped
Yeah.
off.
Um Another one I feel like kind of real. Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yep, that's a
He
good
was
one.
killed.
That is
My
an interesting.
last my last one that I think is real. Sex dolls are stealing our semen and eggs to create babies in government baby chamber. Throwback to episode 2.
Is that our conspiracy theory?
Yeah, that's our
Okay,
conspiracy
'cause I
theory.
was
It's
gonna,
not like a real thing. No, no.
I was gonna be
The,
so
the
I
other
told you
freaked the
one.
guys
fuck
by the
out.
end of this, we'd give you a Katana Fish Productions new theory, and that there
Yeah,
it
we're
is.
throwing that one out there.
When the
If
sex
you believe it,
dolls and
subscribe.
robots become bigger and like more widely available, the government is gonna steal your seeds and eggs.
I was so freaked out because I really thought that it was gonna be like somebody else had that theory and that we had come to the
And we
same
somehow talked
conclusion
about it.
ourselves. And I was like, oh my god, that lends more weight to it because we thought it and they thought it. Oh god. Okay.
No, my last actual like one that I believe is Princess Diana was murdered,
Yes,
like on purpose.
agreed.
That's a crazy story. I just watched a video about just her in general and like the whole thing. Not even like the conspiracy side of it, but like the actual facts of like that
Mhm.
relationship. Shit's wild.
Wild, crazy shit. We originally discussed bringing some that we thought were real and some that we what was it, like, wish were real.
Yes.
Yeah. So my, like, I wish this one was real is PETA is run by meat companies to make vegans look bad.
Oh my god. And they do. PETA does make vegans look bad.
Without fail, PETA killed so many dogs in 1 year and said that they were trying to help people. And so
Yeah.
when
Right.
people found that, and then like the whole, they
It's like
bought,
they routinely like kill bunnies and like
yeah, and
sheep
then
or
there
something.
was
Yeah.
one thing a while ago where like they bought a bunch of crabs that were being sold for food and released them, like I think it was into the ocean, but they were like freshwater crabs.
Oh my god.
And they bought like hundreds of thousands of them and killed all of them instantly.
Anyways, that's why I'm like, I wish it was real.
There's that one comedian and he did like a bunch of videos about how fucked up PETA is, and then he had to do like a rebuttal video because they were like, oh, he's just trying to attack us, and he's like, yeah, but is everything I said real? They're like,
Yeah.
no comment. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to attack you because you're shitty, not because I'm lying about you, you fucking freaks.
Another one that I wish was real, just because I feel like it kind of be cool. I'm ready to be fucking the dude from Watch Dogs with the profiler, but like I want that in my eyeball, right? Because
Uh-huh.
the conspiracy theory that technology is widely and secretly implanted in humans.
Oh, I wish.
I wish.
Bro, give me secretly install cybernetic bones into my body because I'm sick of this joint pain. Be so fucking for real right now.
I could use an eye upgrade for
Oh
sure.
my god, Meg, you could fix your ankles and your eye. Oh, bless up for Meg. Government, if you're listening, get our girl Meg.
Yeah, come after her.
She's prepared for
Get her.
cybernetic upgrades.
I would. Sign me up for that Neuralink too. I
There
could use better memory.
is one thing, I don't remember when it came out, but they released a contact lens that allows you to magnify things up to, I think it was 6 times. But I read the article, but it was a while ago because I don't remember like how I don't remember how it worked. Like I don't remember how you activated it, or if you just put the contact in and it just instantly did the zoom, or if you had to like activate it somehow. But yeah, there was a contact lens that had like a built-in magnification, and it was either up to 4 times or 6 times. And I was like, that's crazy that you can just pop in a contact and fucking sniper scope people with your eyeball.
Fucking lit. I mean, cool as
I'm
hell.
ready to be Inspector Gadget. I think that's one of the cooler conspiracy theories. I mean, are obviously taking it as like the Chinese are spying on us by putting chips under our skin. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
for a while when the games, oh, let me pull up my Steam library real quick. I think it's home. I think they were called Homefront. Yeah, Homefront. When the Homefront games first came out, there was like a huge, like it sparked a huge conspiracy theory because the plot of Homefront is that it was either China or North Korea got access to like a rare earth metal that was great for like technological paneling and like advanced machinery. And so they licensed it and sold it to other countries. And for like years and years, they sold it, and like everybody was using it for like their robots, their defense grids, their weapon systems. And then one day, North Korea just goes, "Hey, you guys want to hear a funny joke?" And everybody was like, "What?" And then North Korea or China, whoever controlled this metal, basically turned off every electronic that didn't belong to them, and
Oh,
then just like
that's hella
invaded
cool
the
concept.
world.
That's a hella cool concept, though. I will
But
say
like
it's
that.
the
cool.
plot for Homefront is that like you are American citizens, and like the Chinese or North Korean government, I cannot remember which one it is, but like they just show up at your home, and like your military is hopeless to defend itself. So it's basically it's like every redneck's dream where you're just like the local town, and you got like your guns that still work because they weren't like the super crazy advanced ones, and you're just trying to like defend your home from Chinese invaders.
What's that?
That's true.
What's
That
that?
is every hick's dream.
What's that movie called? Josh Peck was in the remake of it. What's that movie called? It was like where literally Korea had like invaded. It's Red something.
I don't know. There's fucking. I think it's called. Was it Red Dawn?
Is that what it is? Red Dawn.
Let me look it up. Red Dawn is 1984. In an
Mm-hmm.
alternate 1980s, the United States stands alone as communism grows stronger.
Yeah.
It's got Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, and Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, the remake though in 2012, it's North Korea that was
Um,
invading, and it's got Hemsworth, whatever the
Yep,
fuck.
I see it now. I'm trying to get. Can I get a fucking zoomed in? Oh my god, can you just zoom in, please?
Josh Peck is in it.
Yeah, it's got Chris Hemsworth, Josh Peck, Josh Hutcherson, somebody Paliki. I can't make out the name because I have to zoom in on this very poorly rendered fucking image. Because God forbid Google just help me. Does this one? Okay, there we go. Chris Hemsworth, Josh Peck, Josh Hutcherson. I don't want to go to the IMDb page. I just want to look at the image, please. Adrian Paliki, I think is how you pronounce it, Isabel Lucas, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That guy is in every show, movie, every genre that exists. That man is a part of. He was
Gotta
in
make that bag.
Supernatural. He was in The Walking Dead. Now he's in The Boys.
Yeah.
He was in the remake for Red Dawn.
My last theory here, my last conspiracy theory, I wish was real because to me, it would make so much sense. And that's the dead internet theory.
Yes.
For those listening who don't know what that is, because I feel like every other one that I've mentioned is pretty well known and or self-explanatory. The dead internet theory discusses it's about like the internet isn't really as popular or as widespread as it seems, and it's like that's why there's bots on every site, every social media just flooded with these bots to make it seem more active, essentially is what that is.
Mm. Yeah, it's like it's populated by bots, and like every time you open a website, the theory is also that like it's procedurally generating so many websites that like they don't exist until you like click on a link or go look them up.
Right, and it's because of the bots, like they're quote
Yeah.
unquote like monitoring you. So it's like that's why every site you go to, even if you just sign in, like it already seems kind of pre-curated to
You know,
you.
like the ads that'll show up, you'll be like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one definitely seems believable to me.
Yeah, and I've mentioned the conspiracy theories that I was gonna bring, which are actually I haven't mentioned it yet since we started recording, but missing 411 is a huge one that I've followed for a while. I think since high school, honestly. It's just there's enough evidence that something is wrong, and a lot of the people that are dismissing it are just like, well, it's because the cave systems aren't that explored. And it's like, then explore them, or like mark them as like, if you go beyond this point, like that's on, like a lot of them aren't marked as like dangerous or restricted areas. It's just they're wide open, you can wander into them. If you're letting people wander into these caves, you need to have a better understanding of how the caves are like organized. I say organized, but like obviously they're cave systems. But like if they're this dangerous, and like the theory is like, oh, it's just because they don't know what the caves look like or how to explore them, then stop letting people go in them. Like you're still gonna have people who are gonna break in and go in because that's just human nature apparently. If you tell
For
somebody you
real.
can't do something, they're gonna, but you have to at least try if that's the issue. But like there's so much evidence, like I was telling you guys before we started recording, that like they either will not look for people or they will actively start covering up that person was ever at like that campground or that park. It's crazy. So there's that one. And like I mentioned earlier, the like Laura had mentioned with the assassination of Princess Diana, I also believe JFK was killed by our government because he was about to start putting policies in place that limited funding for government entities and limited their power and what's the word, power and jurisdiction. And the
Mm-hmm.
CIA was like, you're not doing any of that shit, mister, and just fucking gave him the blammo.
The blammo.
The blammo,
Bro
indeed.
got hit with that. Bro got hit with that signature CIA maneuver of no more brains.
On occasion, I think of how, and I can't remember who said this to me, but someone said something about like someone called something like they're like, yeah, it's like JFK, and I was looking for something, and I was like, what? And he was like, back and to the left.
Damn.
Roasted.
That's funny. But for cryptids, the two that I was going to talk about are Mothman, because Mothman's just. I genuinely love Mothman and like the original history of it. And then it got like a novelization in a movie, and then it kind of got like super crazy and weird. But the original history of it was just like these I think it was two. Let me pull up the article on it. Yeah, two young couples from Point Pleasant told police they saw a large black creature whose eyes glowed red standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of a former World War II munitions plant. They described it as a slender, muscular man about 7 feet tall with white wings. However, she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its bright red eyes. The witnesses sped away, scared, and reporting that the creature flew after their car, making a screeching sound. It pursued them as far as Point Pleasant city limits. And then, you have the classic thing where like somebody reports like, I saw this crazy thing. And then everybody in town either makes up their own sightings or they're like, oh, somebody else saw this. Let me talk about it. So like over a week, an entire town just suddenly like two couples were like, oh my God, we saw something crazy and scary. And then in the next week, like the entire town was like, holy shit, other people have seen this. Oh my God. I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was crazy. But then it got turned into a book, which became very popular. And then they made the book is the Mothman Prophecies, and then the movie was made, I believe, in the same name in 2002. And then things start to get like a little bit silly because originally it was just like, oh, there's this weird thing in our town. And then after the book came out and
Meg, what are you doing?
the film, it it was then like it started becoming a thing that like the Mothman's presence is related to like significant paranormal events or impending disasters.
I don't like how that bird is looking at me, by the way.
I don't care. I was just fixing that stuff over there, and you interrupted poor Colin.
That's
it just
fine.
knocked shit over, and I was just trying to fix it, and then you got me.
You were
giggling.
letting the bird dance in front of the camera. How could I?
Just trying to
How could I
adjust
focus
it.
on fucking anything else?
Why do you have your camera on, Meg? Excellent. Perfect. I love that. I love that for us as a team. Anyway, the other crypt that I have is a much shorter one because it's a very weird and scary thing to think about, but there's not much evidence, and it seems to be mostly just based off of mythology rather than actual sightings, and it is the Mongolian death worm, alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert.
That's a good one.
But yeah, like the whole... Yeah, it's a very interesting theory because it's just the idea that it's this terrifying sandworm, and it's been the inspiration for a lot of different like horror movie creatures and things like that.
I was just gonna bring that up. Like, yeah. I love the like, I guess quote unquote like renditions or whatever, iterations, whatever you want to call it,
interpretations. They're always renditions. Yeah,
they're always so cool.
Yeah. Like, some of them literally depict it as just being, like, the size of a snake, and others are like, no, it's the size of a semi-truck, and it eats people that are in the desert.
The Alaskan... Oh!
Yeah.
Hairy and pink!
So, specifically... Mongolian Prime Minister described the worm in 1922 as, it is shaped like a sausage about 2 feet long, has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that to touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts, of the Gobi Desert. Your Prime Minister describes this creature as being a 2-foot-long sausage.
Death sausage.
Yeah, it's just... Mothman is definitely, like, of the cryptids, Mothman's one of my favorites, just because it's very interesting that it started out as just, like, a group of people in this town just being like, there's something scary out there, I can't explain it. And then eventually, like, it started getting turned into, like, books, movies, like, I think there's a few, like, indie video games about it by now, and stuff like that, and it just eventually turned into, like, the Mothman is... his presence indicates that there's some, like, terrible natural disaster, which I think started because of the collapse of a bridge in Point Pleasant. Trying to see if I can... Yeah. Following the December 15, 1967 collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 people, the incident gave rise to the legend connecting the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. And then apparently there's something about, due to the popularity of the Batman TV series, the fictional superhero and his rogues gallery were prominently featured in the public eye, while the villain Killer Moth did not appear in the show. The comic book influence of both him and Batman is believed by some to have influenced the coinage of the name Mothman in the local papers.
That's crazy.
So it's Batman's fault that Mothman is named Mothman.
That makes sense.
Damn.
By the way, just so everybody knows, this episode is going to actually hit on September 30th.
That's fine. I wasn't expecting it to hit.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be perfect. That's what I'm saying. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's truly going to be spooky season. So this is very...
Then our Halloween episode has to be like something genuinely terrifying. We gotta like just talk about horror movies the whole episode. Horror movies, horror stories, crazy shit. One of us has to get abducted so we can have like a first-person account of an abduction story. And I don't go outside that often.
I've got something.
I guess it's me.
I've got as close as we can get to some horror shit. Like, because I like the idea of doing like actual like things that we've experienced.
Yeah,
or,
like I've got ghost stories and like supernatural stuff, but somebody on the podcast, like I'll take the hit if an alien's listening. I go outside sometimes. Usually I go for walks at night, so it's the perfect time to just kind of yoink me and do as you will. Just make sure you send me back because like I don't want to die for this. Don't want to die for the bit. I just want to have a fun story to tell my friends.
I'll go out at night and just whistle a ton, and then
You might
we'll
not
see what
get
happens from there.
the aliens if you're out if you're out there whistling.
Oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna get. And we're gonna see what happens.
You're gonna get fucking eaten. But yeah, if any aliens are listening, I'll go for a walk tonight. We'll call it like 10:30 p.m. I'll go out for a little walk. Feel free to snatch me up and do your little tests on me,
Oh
but
my god, if aliens are listening,
make sure you don't take my memories because I want to be able to share the story with everybody. But don't worry, most people think that like UFO sightings and abduction stories are crazy. So even if I pop on the next episode talking about how guys I actually got abducted, nobody's gonna believe us except maybe my friends will believe me. I hope.
if aliens are listening, please make contact with us.
Yeah, for
I'm
real. Make
dying.
contact with us. We're cool. We're not gonna like threaten you or like attack you. We're just gonna be like, hey, give me a smooch.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might ask about your coochie. That's about it.
Yeah, for real. Do it grip?
A little sexual harassment, but like we're not gonna
in exchange
throw
for
you in some cells.
Yeah, in exchange for you answering our weirdly direct questions, I will let you do experiments on my body and take samples. I just want to know, do it grip? This podcast is cursed.
Yeah.
Truly.
Can I get us back on topic? I forgot.
We are on topic. We're talking about aliens.
Yeah, we're on topic.
No, that's a future topic. We'll get into aliens.
Aliens
and
are
shit
conspiracy theories, Meg.
Sure. Yeah.
Checkmate.
You got me there. I just wanna refocus on two things. Another conspiracy theory that I forgot to mention that I absolutely think is real is that they named Frozen so that when people Googled Frozen, Disney Frozen, they weren't giving the Disney.
Oh yes,
100%
froze Walt anymore.
I do have a conspiracy theory that I don't think is real, like whatsoever.
Flat Earth.
And that's
the Earth is not flat, and I will kick you directly in your pussy if you think it is.
Okay,
not you, Laura. I know you weren't gonna say that, but like that's for the audience. If you think the Earth is flat,
that's true.
I'm kicking you right between your legs.
But if you guys remember, back in like what was it, like 2012 maybe, there was that app of like it was like the dog sitting on the couch or whatever, and it's like you talked into the phone, and then the dog would say what you said at like some weird vocal pitch or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like Talking Tom.
Yeah, there's a cat.
Or something like that. Yeah. There was the theory that like some guy watched kids through the app. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, that's because it didn't have to access your camera. It was just your microphone.
Yeah, and it was like the people, because I remember it like as clear as day because there were like news articles, and I remember being a kid watching the news and seeing them talk about it. And it was like if you looked in like the cat eye or the dog's eye, whatever it was, you could see some guy sitting on the computer or whatever. And it's like, no, you couldn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That literally, it didn't even look like that.
Yeah.
I am so bewildered that people just believed it and they were like, I'm gonna delete this app off my kid's phone.
Yeah, dude, the app craze when smartphones started popping off, they would just believe anything that anybody posted.
Oh my god, it was crazy.
Like
so yeah, that's one that I don't believe like fucking at all.
Though that does bring up, there is a thing where there was a trend a while ago where it was like, oh, take a picture of yourself and like post what you looked like back in the day. And there was a theory that started going around that like the government was using that to track down like if missing people, like if you got kidnapped as a kid, they were like, post a picture of what you look like as a kid and what do you look like now. There was a theory that like either law enforcement or like the FBI were doing that to try and see if like kidnapped people could be found.
Yeah, I also saw that they use it for like age. Like use it as a database, not necessarily to like be like, oh, this is what this person looked like aged up, but to like help try and recreate and like upgrade their software to age up missing persons pictures. So I
So
thought
like
that
if
was
that's
actually
real, that one's actually like kind of an interesting way to go about like subtly trying to get like the American people to like help you do something actually helpful without tipping off the shitty people that like did the kidnappings.
Yeah.
So like if that one's true, that one's actually kind of cool, but there's no way to know cuz they're obviously it's not going to be something that they come out and be like, "Yeah, we got you guys. Haha, haha, pranked.
right.
Thanks for the software upgrade."
Right. Even though that in that case it's kind of like a net benefit,
Yeah.
to
But like
people.
the concern for that is also like if you say and admit that that's why you did it, then there's a good chance that anybody who was kidnapped and might have been helped to get like caught and returned, they might just start icing those people.
Oh yeah, and like the similar vein of that, there's the um like Throwback Thursday was created by the government so they can get access to pictures they may not have had before
Oh,
too.
that's an interesting. Although now I pretty sure as soon as I take a picture on my phone, it just instantly gets sent off to some government facility somewhere.
Oh, 100%. There's absolutely some secret government thing that's like, we hold all the
Yeah, it's like as
pictures you
long
have
as
ever
I
taken.
have Wi-Fi or data signal when I take the picture, like the government's just like, "Ooh, take that, thank you."
How many coochie and dick pics do you think they got?
Oh,
Oh,
the government has access to everything that definitely gets sent, and with the eruption in popularity of OnlyFans, the government has seen, I think, every penis.
Oh, that's true. That's so valid.
that's wild. So, my final conspiracy theory. Let's get off the topic of penises. It's gross to me.
Meg doesn't want to talk about wieners.
I really don't. Let's talk about dicks instead, such as no.
Richard Nixon,
I was gonna say
I could have
Ronald Reagan.
I could have followed up with
Dick
so
Nicky
many names.
himself.
J.P. Morgan. Boom. How about that one?
Oh,
Ugh,
okay, okay.
Yeah,
cringe.
yeah. Exactly. So the Titanic
Oh,
was
God.
not the ship that sank, and instead it was the Olympic.
Yep,
Fun fact.
I've read that theory
Yeah.
and the evidence to go
Laura,
with
are you
it.
familiar with this?
I have read it. I personally don't believe it.
Even though JP Morgan was not on, nor were the 50 other partners of his that all believed in the Federal Reserve's creation, but were not part of the ship, but the people that were against the Federal Reserve were on the ship. How about that? You sprinkle that conspiracy in there?
I mean, I don't think that has to do with it not being the Titanic though. That could just be like we got the government being like we got to get these people out of here.
Right, but that it's not the Titanic, but that it was intentionally sunk is the thing, and that's they replaced. They used their older ship. They painted the Titanic on it instead of the Olympic because it looked enough like it, and then they sank that, got the insurance money, and got rid of their political opponents. That's the whole theory.
Sometimes
I
you just
mean,
gotta sink a. Sometimes you gotta sink a boat with hundreds of people on it just to do what you got to do in the government. You know, I
Well,
watched The
apparently,
Boys. I know
well,
what the
apparently,
superheroes do to
we got to
maintain
get back to
peace.
doing that.
well, apparently they had a ship docked relatively close by that only had pillows and blankets on it.
That was the ghost ship. That's just where if people died at sea, they could just take a little rest vacation.
I'm just saying,
They
like,
just
why
set they
would
just
you?
set that boat out there and be
That
like,
was the
all right.
autism comfort zone. If you were getting overstimulated, they
From
just
the
sent you there.
sinking of the Titanic.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So their radio was turned off just before they supposedly hit the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
Which made them miss the last iceberg warning. The guy had. They didn't fire off red flares. They fired off white flares, which is a celebration flare, not a distress flare. Obviously, like there's like they didn't want to put all the safety boats on for aesthetics because it was unsinkable, not because of anything shady. But another ship of similar dimensions, belonging to the same owner, J.P. Morgan, was left loaded only with blankets and jumpers and remained anchored close to the scene of the disaster.
He just pulled up to flex on me. Like, my boat didn't sink, losers.
But it was the ship was also owned by J.P. Morgan. Like literally, it left 5 days after the Titanic, and it was just filled with like blankets and sweaters.
Bro just wanted to flex on the haters.
Well, I told you it's the autism comfort zone.
I'm just saying, like that's fucking shady as shit. But yeah, but a bunch of families who were against the Federal Reserve died, but J.P. Morgan was not on his amazing unsinkable ship, and neither were his 50 supportive business partners. I'm just saying, it's fucking shady. Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories are shady. Is it my question this week, or
Yeah,
is it?
let it be. We'll let it be.
Okay.
Even if it's not, it is.
Okay, good, because I have a question kind of relating to conspiracy theories.
Oh.
My question this week is when the polar ice caps melt, because let's be honest, it's just going to happen. Nothing's really being stopped to prevent that. So when the polar ice caps melt, do you think we'll have more people saying that it's a hoax, or more people saying that they still exist? Or I'm so sorry. Do you think we'll have more people saying that it's a hoax and they still exist, or more people claiming that they never existed in the first place?
Um, I think people, because like it's already a quote unquote hoax that climate change exists. So there's definitely going to be more people sticking to their guns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It depends on how far out in the future you get, because here's the thing. If you never seen something, then you're going to say it never existed. That couldn't have possibly ever existed because I've never seen it. So, saying that this is just something to keep us where they want us so that we can't get ahead by going back to destroying the planet. You know what I mean? So it just
Mm-hmm.
depends on like how things kind of like, if in response to this people actually try and shape the fuck up, then it's gonna be people going, they never exist in the first place. They're just trying to scare us. Have you ever seen an iceberg?
That's true.
You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? And so I think it's gonna be that eventually, but I think at first Colin's absolutely right that more people are gonna be like, how do we know? We have you gone up and checked yourself? And it's like, no, have you? And he's like, no, but that's not the
Yeah.
point.
I was gonna say, I definitely think people are still. We're gonna have, like, when it first happens, like, maybe the 10, 20 years or whatever after, like, I feel like we're definitely gonna have people saying that, oh, well, they still exist, like, they never went anywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think after society moves on without them for however long we do, we're definitely going to get to a point of people going, well, they never existed in the first place because I never saw them.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's like the big thing. What are they saying? Like, if we don't fix things within the next 100 years, the planet's literally just going to become uninhabitable.
I think so. I saw there was a while ago, there was like someone put a clock in Times Square
Mm.
that like just counted down like the seconds, the hours or whatever,
What
like
is it called?
how
The
long
apocalypse
to
clock?
probably um
Yep. Doomsday clock.
yeah, that it just counted down the how long we have left until like climate change literally fucking ruins our planet.
Right,
And
like
it's like
point of no
I
return.
understand, yeah, and it's like kind of understand, that way of being like, look, something needs to get done, but you're literally just putting that on blast to ordinary people who can do nothing. Like, put that in billionaires' homes.
Because the billionaires don't care because they're building
The billionaires
bunkers.
don't care because they're building bunkers and they're making so much fucking profit off it. They don't give a shit.
Right, they're
The
like, I'm not gonna
doomsday
be here.
clock was created in 1947
Yeah,
because of the danger to humanity from nuclear weapons.
yeah, I did know that.
I read that there was one, it was like
Yeah, let
fucking
me do
2018,
a
2019.
yeah, let me
They
do
might have
another
put
check.
it there to like give it exposure. That could be something like
Might
that.
have, because that clock, it was like, we have, like, back then, it was like, we have 7 or 8 years until the climate change is irreversible, and it's like, okay, I'm on my way to my job, bro.
The climate change clock. Yeah, the climate clock is. Yeah, there we go. New York in 2020 in New York, it showed that it was 6 years, 364 days, and 24 hours remaining in 2020.
6 years.
So
All right, so we got
we got 2 years left. We got to
Oh
hit
my
it big,
God.
gang.
I have
Guys,
hope again.
subscribe, comment, share with your friends.
We will handle it.
Yeah, if we can become famous enough, we will stop climate change.
We will handle
by
it.
force if necessary.
Oh, I got really excited. I thought that they were saying climate change was gonna like really kill us by then.
Yeah.
Like that was gonna be like the
It's
switch.
currently 4 years and 318 days and 22 minutes before global time left to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
It's not till it like kills us, but it's to like it's
until there's no
irreparable.
turning
to
back.
help. Yeah.
Yeah, that. I'm bummed. I was really ready for the apocalypse in like 2 years. I was so ready.
Are you crazy?
Fam, let's just call it quits. What's the point in going another 30 years only to start the apocalypse when we're old as fuck? We'll be 50 when the apocalypse
I'm
hits.
shooting myself. I am going to just end it.
It depends
I'm not
on what
built
kind of.
to do
I've
that.
I've had this discussion. It might actually be. You know what? I won't talk about it because I think I'm going to ask that when it's my question next.
Yes.
I just had the thought. Let me save that one in the old bank.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I think I think we're gonna call it quits here.
Keep it conspiracy.
Conspiratorial.
No. Thanks for tuning in. Keep it truthful.
What the fuck, Laura?
Keep it real to yourself, man.
Laura, what the fuck?
What, we're not trying to spread lies?
No,
are we?
No, but be like a thinker. Like, think, okay? Don't do the shitty conspiracy theories.
Be truthful, man.
Don't do the shitty conspiracies, but like, don't let the man keep you down either. Don't let the man lie to you.
Don't let the man keep you down, Meg. Are you
we gotta end this episode.
Are you a 60-year-old fucking hippie?
Episode 1, I told you, I am an old lady. I'm old. I didn't know what cranking 80s was, okay?
Alright, fine. Keep it cranking. Keep it fucking cranking. Whether it's cranking 80s, cranking your hog, keep it cranking.